anticipated matchup between the Oakland Raiders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super Bowl 37.
They couldn't catch another shit. Cannons locked and loaded, so it's time to flip the script. Cruising through the bay on that Buccaneer battleship, sold up, screaming out, so Buck what you heard. So Buck what you heard. So Buck what you heard. So Buck what you heard.
All right, welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. This is the Super Bowl edition of Buck What You Heard. So many years in the making, but you know what? Better late than never, baby.
Super Bowl edition? Things I never thought we'd ever say.
You know what? I'm enjoying it. I've been enjoying the ride since day one. And I tell you what, man, it just doesn't even seem real where we are right now.
No, man, the first team ever host a Super Bowl.
That is crazy to just think about that. I get goosebumps thinking about that. I mean, everybody, I want to shout out everybody that was on the Super Bowl or bus train. You guys are real MVPs. They were leading the charge. They basically said, why not us? And they stuck with it. And everybody else is like jaded and dealt with all this other stuff like myself. I was like, okay, I'm good with us getting to the playoffs. But you know what? Here we are. I'm good with this. Will the Brewer, what's going on, man? Israel Bell. Ken Parrish, how you doing, Ken? Antoine Cates. Rudy, what's going on? Man, this is just a good feeling right now. And the way the Bucs did it and the team they beat. I mean, if you look at the start, I call the start of the journey right after your bye week. And we saw what happened after the bye week. The Bucs went out and took care of business every single game. We talked about this. We've talked about this after every game. The Bucs found a way to win their games and go out and do what they needed to do. Jay McElroy, what's going on? Buckaholics in the house. Robert Orton. And, you know, it's just crazy how they just went out and won this game. Then they won the next game. Then they won the next game. We get to the playoffs. And then it's like, oh, well, you got to go in and beat that Rams defense. Then you got to go up against the New Orleans Saints. Oh, you got to beat the Saints who swept you during the regular season and their defense is dominant. And you got to find a way to win there. Oh, you got to go into the frozen tundra. And you know what? When people were talking about can the Bucs win in cold weather, you can put that fucking argument to rest and never bring it up again. Bury it right next to 2020 and let's not talk about that anymore.
For sure. I mean, it's over 20 degrees, which to me, you know, is cold because I'm a normal human being. But like to these NFL players, like who played at Penn State, they played at Michigan, they played all these places in college. They grew up there. They know these places. Like it's really not that big of a deal. Now, if you said it's sub-zero with 20-mile-per-hour wind chills, that's different with 6 inches of snow. Like, don't get me wrong. Like that's probably disadvantage Bucs. But like 20 degrees, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, like that's nothing. And this team came out and they started hot, Gene. The Bucs came out and scored first.
Yeah, it blew my mind because I'm like, okay, guys, just get ready. The Bucs are going to start out slow.
I was bracing for it.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, we'll weather the storm in the first quarter. This is in my mind. I'm thinking, okay, we've seen this movie before. Bucs are going to start out slow, but you know, Tom Brady has shown what Tom Brady can do. Shout out to Tom Brady because I really believe, you know, if you would have asked me this at the beginning of the season, I'd have kind of, I don't know, let's wait and see kind of attitude, which I did have, by the way. And Tom Brady has brought a winning attitude to Tampa. Games that they normally didn't win, they're winning these games. They're finding ways to win games. And Tom Brady didn't have his best game. Let's just be real about it. He didn't have his best game against Green Bay, but you know what? The Buccaneers came together as a team collectively and won that game. So anybody that's talking about how bad Tom Brady how bad Tom Brady played? Fuck you. Look at the score. Look at the box score, and then talk about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, 2 of his interceptions were arm punts, and the other one was a tipped pass that in real time looked like it was Mike Evans should have caught it, but after slow motion, yeah, no, it's probably just a smidge too high over the middle, which those usually happen to become interceptions. But with Tom Brady's leadership, it started from day one. Shout out to my alma mater, Berkeley Prep. I mean, it all started there. He held all those practices in the preseason. No one was doing it. Russell Wilson got props for taking DK Metcalf to a field. Like, no one was having like half team practices. They like rotated 15 people like every other day to make sure everyone got reps. Even Dare Ogunbowale, all these people who, that overlooked Scotty Miller, they were all there every single day that they possibly could just to get better. And that's what Tom Brady is. Take each day, get better, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah. And just look at this team 2 years ago and compare it to the team that you have right now. And it's like night and day. It's night and day. And, not settling for losing a game, but coming back and doing what you need to do. Antoine Cates, I've got this post up here that he put it. I mean, chat is lit already. Shout out to you guys in the chat. These were all away games. These are all through the playoffs. Up until the Super Bowl were all away games. So you go out on the road every single week and you take care of business. Wild card, first round, next round, and you just continuously go out and do what you need to do. I mean, you can't, if you're a Bucs fan, you have to, regardless of what you think of this team or what they can supposedly do better, you have to be proud of this team for taking this kind of adversity. Most teams can't do this. Most teams just don't do this. So, again, shout out to the Bucs and what they were able to accomplish. They made, this is what makes this Super Bowl so sweet, is the adversity that they faced. And I know that, it could have been anybody, but the path that they've gotten to the Super Bowl, they beat the best of the best. There's nobody that they sidestep that they should have faced. The Bucs beat the best of the best. What do you think?
I mean, I think this entire year it was Saints and Packers were 1A and 1B for the best team in the NFC. And the Bucs were able to come out and beat them both. Like you said, on the road, you had Drew Brees. You basically virtually ended his career. And then the entire week of last week, all I heard was Aaron Rodgers, this is his chance to become the GOAT. He hasn't made that many Super Bowls. He hasn't made that many NFC championships. But if he overcomes everything that occurred, like them drafting a first-round quarterback instead of giving him more weapons, if he overcomes, what happened last year, getting blown out by the 49ers, it just shows that, he has the physical talent, and he's going to be the next coming. Maybe he closes out his career with a couple. No, a 43-year-old quarterback. And I know everyone's going to say, oh, he went to this team with all these weapons. Gene, how many Pro Bowlers does this offense have had?
1.
Pro Bowler, 0.
Oh, Pro Bowler, 0. Yeah.
Defense, 1 Pro Bowl. All Pro, 0 offense.
Yep.
2 second-team linebackers. That's it. And, there is great talent on this team. But at the end of the day, you just look at the press conference of these quarterbacks. Tom Brady each week, we got to do X, Y, and Z to get better. Even after losses, you hear Aaron Rodgers on a press conference and be like, we don't know what the future holds, even though I have 3 or 4 years left on my contract. I'm 36 years old. I'm playing for the most storied franchise in NFL history. That just shows leadership right there. And with everything that the Bucs had to go through this year, from COVID to the middle of the season when they had the tough stretch, everyone doubted them, myself included. I mean, I came into the season with Super Bowl aspirations, and I dialed that down real quick.
Yeah.
And they just come out. I can preach all the hate that I've had on Byron Leftwich and, the soft zone on defense.
Yeah.
But they had a scheme that they believed in. They put in the work, and it worked out. We're in the Super Bowl.
Hey,
winning erases everything.
And I'm going to give you a word: adjustments.
Exactly.
That's what it was. Everybody wanted to launch his ass into the sun, myself included. But they found a way to make all this work. They found a way to get all these weapons involved. Antonio Brown. This team, there's a couple of games this team doesn't win without Antonio Brown being included into this offense. When you have a player like Chris Godwin, who was injured part of the season, Mike Evans, injured part of the season, Scotty Miller, injured part of the season, but they continue to find ways to win. And this is what gives me confidence going up against this Kansas City Chiefs team. I think Kansas City hit Tampa with its best shot during the regular season. I really believe that. And I went back and watched the game against the Carolina Panthers, in which the Panthers almost took them to basically took them into overtime. Went and watched that game again. This is a winnable Super Bowl. The Bucs go in there businesslike, and this is why I'm so happy to have Tom Brady here. If you had to have anybody in your locker room for a Super Bowl, a chance to win a Super Bowl championship at home, it would be Tom Brady. That would be the guy that I want. And I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the season, it was like everybody was like, oh, we're talking about Tom Brady too much. Now you got to give the man his due. Real talk. You got to give the man his due.
Do you think he goes on the Mount Rushmore of all-time athletes with the Michael Jordan?
He has to.
The Michael Phelpses, I'm trying to think of we already got Michael Jordan. I mean, Wayne Gretzky, these immortals. I mean, I think he becomes Babe Ruth if he pulls off this W in the Super Bowl.
I think he's already solidified that. Just the route that he took to get to the Super Bowl. I don't know of too many quarterbacks, and the Bucs have not had a quarterback that could have taken that route and gotten you there.
Name one of the 31 other quarterbacks that could have done? I'm saying there's a lot of talented quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes included.
Yeah.
Do you think how many quarterbacks do you think could have done what Brady did this year? Taking everything into account, talent, leadership, all that stuff.
Adversity, the COVID list and all that other stuff.
I think maybe Mahomes. I can't even say Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Yeah, I can't either.
Maybe Russ Wilson. So two guys and a 43-year-old. You don't think Russ? Okay, so we're talking maybe one guy in the rest of the NFL, and this guy's 43 years old.
And just give me a second here. I'm just kind of going through, just making sure I'm not missing anybody. Somebody should have popped in my head by now. No. I think Tom Brady is the only guy that you could see doing that.
Yeah, man. And then we see in the chat, Will the Brewer just brought up Vita Vea. I think that he opened up the pass rush.
We have not even gotten to that. That's my guy. And I've got a whole segment because I want to talk about him. And, from the draft until now, his presence was missed throughout the season. There was zero pass rush. What you saw from him, and we might as well jump into it right now. Why not?
Go for it.
Right, since we're here. Watching Vita Vea, and I was tweeting this, he was eating double teams. He was eating them, and he was still moving. He was still collapsing. He was collapsing that pocket. And he was in 33% of the snap he played, I believe.
Yeah, he hadn't played in 3 months and played a third of the snaps.
Every single sack that the Buccaneers got, Vita Vea was on the field. Tell me this man. I never want to hear about Derwin James ever again. If you're a Bucs fan, you're following me on Twitter, I'm putting you on notice. If you ever bring up Derwin James and Vita Vea in the same breath, I will block your ass, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that draft, I mean, I wasn't a Derwin James head mainly because I was concerned about his knee. But Vita especially, I thought he was going to be the next, Don Terry Poe, this really athletic defensive tackle. Can't really do that much other than be big. And as Warren Sapp pointed out before the draft, maybe he eats himself out of the NFL. But this guy, he's only gotten stronger. He's only gotten more. He's a big guy, but he's gotten a little bit more lean and he's gotten a little bit more muscular. Like he's moving faster. Things I didn't think were possible for someone of that size to do. But that's hats off to Jason Light, man.
Yeah.
He's this was a plan. And he, even with a coach he didn't even like in Cutter, saw this.
Yeah. And
Vita didn't fit it in their defense.
yeah. And think about this. That game, that Green Bay game was won as a team. We saw special teams. Jaden Mickens was making plays. Ryan Suckup doing his job. I mean, how many times this year have you been nervous about the kicker, our kicking situation? Exactly. I know he's had some games where he's had a lot of misses. I think that Detroit game kind of
It was just the one Detroit game. That was it.
But this team, especially this game, they won that game collectively as a team. And that is what the Brady effect brings you, where he was struggling in the second half, but that defense still came up big and they did what they needed to do.
Yeah, I want to dive into the stats. I want to see how many of Shaq Barrett's sacks the past 2 years have occurred when Vita was on the field. I guarantee it's a whole lot of them. And this is something I didn't even think of was a correlation. And then it just hit me on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because Shaq was coming off the ball. JPP and him were both getting one-on-ones.
Yeah.
And they were winning.
Yeah, and it could be, what can you do is you pick your poison. If you double Shaq, I mean, that means that Vita's gonna eat your center, basically. But yeah, that's just how the game went. And you couldn't help but be surprised. I guess I was surprised too with Antoine Winfield Jr. out. I was like, man, is
my boy Mike Edwards, baby. That's my guy.
And just looking at him, man, I mean, that's watching that defense play, watching that secondary play, they put all that shit to rest. I mean, you've got, I mean, Joe Cool was normally Aaron Rodgers was throughout the playoffs. He's just been balling. He's been dominant until he ran into this Bucs team. And without Antoine Winfield Jr., and then, just some of the key pieces that the Bucs had that were injured, and they still maintain that same aggression, and a lot of that started in the front seven.
Yeah, man. I'm just looking at I don't know if you saw in the Chiefs versus Bills game, but they lost their left tackle in the last 4 minutes of the game. I'm looking at this Chiefs offensive line. We have backup left tackle, third string left guard, backup center, starting right guard, backup right tackle.
Yeah.
Against Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett, and JPP. I don't think we have to blitz. Maybe use Devin White as a spy / blitz. I don't think you have to send 5 or 6 that often. We don't have to go cover 0, leave Tyreek Hill on an island with Carlton Davis. And we saw in the game in week 9, I believe, week 10, whatever it was, that Bowles even adjusted, was having 2-man deep and just doubling Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
Let these guys beat you. And I think that was a recipe that worked, because I think the Chiefs only had 3 points in the second half against us.
So when you're in, while we're talking about matchups too, how does this Chiefs offense match up against this? See, we can forget about the game that the Bucs played against the Chiefs. We're talking right now, that game before the bye. We're talking about this new Bucs defense with all the pieces that they have in place. How does this defense match up against that Kansas City Chiefs offense?
I mean, it's a question of depth versus top-end talent, just in general, because the Chiefs don't have, on their defense, this speaks for their defense too. They have Chris Jones. They have Tyrann Mathieu. They have Frank Clark. That's it. The offense, they got Patrick Mahomes. They got Tyreek Hill, and they got Travis Kelce. I mean, they're nightmares. Let's just be real here. It's going to be really hard to match up with them. But there's one number that this entire game comes down to, and you know what that number is?
The scoreboard.
30. The Bucs are undefeated when they put up 30 points in a game, and the Bucs have already held the Chiefs under 30 once. And if they do it again, I think the offense puts up 30 against their defense.
Man,
it's a race to 30.
There you go.
It's warm. There's going to be a lot of passing.
That's right. And for you, do you see Patrick Mahomes as that threat?
Oh, yeah. To me, it comes down to his toe. So he's got a turf toe, to those of you who don't know. and that can be a weird thing to be playing with. He was a little bit mobile versus the Bills, but
He's gonna
he
yeah, this
wasn't the running threat. Which if he is not the running threat, think Daniel Jones, think Taylor Heineke. If he can't do that kind of stuff, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame guy, like 3-4 years into his career. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be at 100%, which what the Bucs struggle with is a guy who can get outside the pocket, run for those 10 yards for the first down when it's 3rd and 10, and you really just need to buckle down late in games. That's how they beat us last time. Patrick Mahomes scrambled for the last first down, and then second to last one. Then he found Tyreek Hill on a rollout. But that's what I mean. If he's not on the run, but these 2 weeks, it depends how fast his injury heals.
And let's keep in mind too, you've got Vita Vea on the field. You did not and again, Kansas City has not faced this Buccaneers defense right here.
He did not play versus them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Kansas City has not faced this particular Bucs defense. They faced something that he faced something different, but it's nothing like what you have here. So and I hear a lot of Chiefs fans talking about that game and talking about what Tyreek Hill did in that first quarter, and I'm like, okay, cool. That you kind of have to put all that aside, and kind of put all that aside. This is a Super Bowl. This isn't this isn't a playoffs right now. This is a Super Bowl. This is for it all right here, and they have to go in, but the Bucs have to go in focused. They really do. I think that was good that they lost that game, only because I feel like they have motivation now. Tom Brady's got motivation to come in and do something that no other quarterback has been able to do.
Yeah, man. And who else who didn't play in that last game against the Chiefs?
I'm trying to remember.
The only guy who can run with, other than Scotty Miller, the only guy on the Bucs roster who could run with Tyreek Hill, Jamel Dean. He's the guy who'd probably be matched up with Tyreek Hill, especially in off coverage. Carlton Davis, he is an amazing cornerback, and he did a lot of amazing things against receivers like Devontae Adams and Michael Thomas this year. But Tyreek Hill's just that speed he just doesn't. Carlton doesn't have. Jamel has. He's not the greatest corner, but he has the speed to at least make those contested catches closer, or those deep throws. Just maybe he makes Mahomes throw it a little bit too far because there's not as much separation. It's those small details that the Bucs are going to have to take care of. And I love Tom Brady, but he can't make those mistakes he made.
Yeah, I don't see that again. I don't see that happening. I think that when we've seen Tom Brady make these mistakes, he's normally cleaned it up the next week, and it's not been a consistent thing like we've seen in the past years. So I think you're looking at a totally different quarterback. And again, this is a Super Bowl. He's been here, and he's comfortable here. He knows what needs to be done, and I think he can go out and do it. Another name mentioned, and I'm loving the chat. Thank you, guys. Keep the chat coming. King Cook was talking about Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson, I mean, just
my guy.
I love what we're seeing from him, and it's going to be really interesting in the next few years to see how he develops.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you saw that Jason Light interview with Peter King that went out this morning, but apparently BA fell in love with this guy at the Outback Bowl, and Light said if he was available at 13, BA would have been happy. That's how much they believe in this guy. And as much as I love Antonio Brown and what I think he brings to this team in terms of route running in the short to intermediate passing game, Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller, the combination of, to me, I think brings a lot more. What do you think of that as the number 3 receiver?
Yeah, I mean, I just question his hands sometimes. Consistent catching. I think he's made some ridiculous catches. Don't get me wrong here. He's made some ridiculous catches, but ultimately it just has to be consistent. That has to be. But I think in his defense, if he had more reps, I believe he would have been a little bit more consistent. Just bringing somebody out, and you've got 3 number 1 receivers already in Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. And, just trying to get time with that rotation is incredible. How many other teams in the NFL have this kind of problem?
I tell you, Aaron Rodgers doesn't.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson doesn't.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean,
Patrick Mahomes doesn't.
once you shut down DK Metcalf, that was it.
We look at the other side of the field. The Chiefs, the most explosive offense, probably the most talented offense. You know, the media wants to eat them all up. They're not as talented as us offensively.
I think what's really hurt Kansas City this year is their defense. Their defense kind of fell off from last year.
That's what I'm saying. They just have that top end talent, but they don't have those role players, those Will Golstons, those Antoine Winfield Juniors. They have Tyrann Mathieu, who is amazing, but you know, an athletic safety can only go so far in coverage. Yeah, I think he's great if he blitzes us, but what the Chiefs are going to do is they're going to run zone blitzes. They're going to say our offense is going to put up 30. Can you score 31?
Yeah,
and that's why I think this game's a race to 30.
Yeah. And guys, we haven't even talked about. I mean, we didn't see the emergence of Cameron Brate until after the bye week. And here's another guy that the Kansas City Chiefs did not get to see in that first meeting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was Cam Brate. They didn't get that heavy dose of Cameron Brate. And I think he's a guy who's quietly winning over Tom Brady to where Tom feels comfortable. This is like a security blanket to have at tight end. I know he loves Gronk, but I mean, when it's time, clutch plays are needed. We've seen it from Cam Brate week in and week out after the bye.
Yeah, man. And another guy who showed out in the Chiefs game, but hasn't really been that healthy since is Ronald Jones. He's going to probably be at full strength. You have playoff Lenny playing like a madman, and now you have a possibly 80%, 90% Rojo.
Yeah,
we might be able to run the ball. I mean, as long as we don't run dive. My big thing against Leftwich is don't run just to run it. Run power. Establish something. Like if you only gain 2 yards on a power, that's way better than 2 yards on a dive because you can pull that guard, pull Ali Marpet, do a play action after your third or fourth time after running power. What's the defense going to do?
Yeah, pick your poison again. And guys, this is what the fans wanted. The fans when Leonard Fournette announced he's coming to Tampa and they signed him, everybody knew it was going to be Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, and you're going to have that change of pace, change of style running backs throughout the game. I believe right now, if you're, as we're talking about this, 80% from Ronald Jones, the way he hits the hole, a violent way he runs. He had a run of 45 yards that got called back on a fucking penalty.
And he was limping a lot of that.
He was not even close to being 100%. So this is what I'm saying. I mean, Leonard Fournette was not running like this against Kansas City either. That's why I say this is a totally different game. You could just kind of put that other game to the side. This is a totally different game and a totally different team than the one Kansas City faced.
Yeah, man. I've been talking to Chiefs people on Twitter recently, and apparently Bills fans were giving them the whole, we've changed since the last time you played us, and they were getting tired of that narrative. Oh, now the Bucs fans are going to be like, oh, we've changed since the last time you played. No, we have changed. Schematically, personnel-wise,
yeah.
Like, everything's changed. Like, what we were running 8 weeks ago is prehistoric compared to what we've been running lately. Yep. And that goes to what you said, the word that you dropped, adjustments. They did it. I didn't think they could. I didn't think they would. They did.
Yeah, and we talked about this. It's like it's that marriage. You've got Byron Leftwich, you've got Bruce Arians, and then you've got what Tom Brady wants to do. And when you can immerse all that together and make it work, and here's that SAT word as I like to say, in concert, this is what you get. Shout out to Peter Blake, of course. That I know that happens to be one of his catchphrases. But yeah, just kind of getting back to that, man. That's what was missing, and for them to all come together and they're able to make all this work. And Tom's being able to do what helps him and makes him comfortable, I think, is a benefit for this offense as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, literally, the only thing I'm really worried about is how quickly the Chiefs can score, and then also their aggressiveness on fourth downs or key situations, kind of like what we did. We originally against the Packers brought out the punting team in that 15 seconds fourth and 3 at the 40-yard line against the Packers. And we went for it, we got it, and then we took the deep shot to Scotty Miller. That's what Kansas City's done every time the past 2 years. They didn't think about it. We've thought about those kinds of things a lot this year, and most of the time we didn't do it. So is our defense going to be able to get off the field, and are they going to be able to withstand, like, let's say, a turnover or a couple 3-and-outs? Because the Chiefs, as we saw against the Bills, they were down 9-0 early. They put up 21 like that in 4 minutes time.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I just personnel wise, I look at what the Bills have, and depth wise, I think they're a few seasons away, a few draft picks, and some free agents away from having that solid depth that you would need on a defense. Again, I just think personnel wise, top to bottom, when everybody's healthy, I don't know who you compare Tampa's defense to.
I think it has to be the Saints. And in terms of overall rosters, I think those are by far the best rosters, top to bottom, 1 through 22 in the NFL.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's all resides in the NFC South. There's a question about how do you cover a Tyreek Hill? And I know you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but how do you cover him? I mean,
Well, if they didn't have Travis Kelce, I'd say triple team him. But, even a double team, all he has to do is run a shallow cross over the middle. What are you going to really do? No one in the NFL can keep up with this guy.
Yeah.
But, he's also one big hit. What I love as a former player is being able to identify these guys. And I'm sure when you played football too, those really fast guys, those really athletic guys, usually like, some of the best players on the team, they were fast. But what were they always during practice or in a game? Frail. They the smallest calf strain is like the end of the world. It's one big hit. It takes them, 20 minutes to mentally recover from it.
Look at Deshaun Jackson.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And I love Tyreek Hill, but if Jordan Whitehead lays that hit on him, he's probably out.
Jesus, that was a hit though.
And it hurt Jordan. He dislocated his shoulder from it. That's how much force he came in with. But at the end of the day, like, to answer your question, I think you just have to just keep a guy over him, let him run over the middle, make those 10-yard catches. He's going to get his. We're going to get ours.
Yeah, but don't let him get that big play. Don't get.
And if you take away, let's say the couple long passes he got the first round, we had 200 yards in the first half. What if he just, took half of that yardage? What if we didn't let him beat us over the top? What if they didn't quickly put 7 on the board? It's a completely different game. Right. So just keep them away from going deep.
Yeah, and now that's another part of it too, is you had to change up your coaching because of the way this team just put up all the yards and put up all those points. Oh, that's right. Ali Marpet was out too.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Brody, shout out.
He had the concussion.
Yeah, he was out too. I forgot about that.
How did I forget about that?
Ali Marpet of all people. And hey, shout out to Aaron. Thank you so much, man. DP Buck 32 says keep a safety over Hill and double cover Kelce at all times.
Yeah, that's basically double covering them both, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah, and you have to make your other offensive weapons beat you. I don't know what's going on with the running game. I know they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire is healthy and he's playing. But again, I think the Bucs do really good against the run, and they have done good against the run, especially in the playoffs. They're back to where they were. I know they'd kind of fallen off a little bit, towards the back end of the season, but I think after the bye, and then especially getting Vita back, I don't see the running game as such a factor as what it may have been like in a Minnesota game.
Yeah, man. I mean, look what the Saints do. Look what the Rams did against us these past 2 years. You don't need to run. You just their game plans were built around the pass. They just ran when they had a lead. They just threw the ball around the yard because they found out what our weaknesses were, and they went with that. And the Chiefs, I mean, I think they're going to try to get, Clyde some carries, but I think he's going to be more of a factor in the passing game, both him and Bell. Like, you just got to, keep him in front of you.
Yes. Is Le'Veon Bell? He's not the same runner that he was at Pittsburgh.
No, I would say he's closer to what Leonard Fournette was during the regular season, is where he's kind of at in his career, and that's why he's playing for the Chiefs on a minimum deal.
And that makes sense too.
But he's great depth. I mean, he can always do what Lenny's done for us this playoffs. He could still break one. He's great out of the backfield. He can score, passing touchdown over the middle. He can do it, but he's just not the threat that he once was. But Clyde, you just got to find him. He's going to hide behind those big tackles. His little 5'6", 5'7" frame. Just got to find him, bring him down.
Yeah, there you go. Ramona K. Scott Pioli was high on Brady drafting him.
Drafting who?
Let's see. I had to go back and find it. Give me a second. I'll come back to that one. Play nickel defense and keep David or Wyatt as a spy.
Yeah, we've learned from Bowles, he's not taking both his linebackers off the field, and he's not playing 3 down with the 2 linebackers with 6 DBs. No, he's going to play nickel, and that's pretty much about it. And he's just going to disguise some stuff, and he's going to bring pressure sometimes. Or I think what we've done the past couple weeks in the entire playoffs, when we've struggled a little bit, they just go back to 2 high, play man.
Yeah.
Say beat us.
And they've been very successful with it, which I think that's what these guys were drafted for. If you go back and look at their draft, the draft information on a lot of these players in the secondary, they were mostly man. I'm trying to think who might have been like a zone. I don't think they drafted anybody that was
I think SMB has qualities to play zone if he was on the outside more, but he is quicker than he is fast. Like, let's say Dean is, straight line fast. Carlton is, a little bit of mix of both. I would say SMB, we've seen it with the interceptions. He has a little bit more ball skills, a little bit more of instincts. He turns for his head to the ball more often than the other 2 do. And that's why the other 2 are great at passes defense, but they normally don't get that many picks. SMB, when he gets his hand on the ball, generally it's a pick just because he just has more awareness, within his area. But he's also gotten burnt a little bit more in man than I think he liked this year. But, he's obviously grown from it.
Yep. And, that you can't help but love that too.
Yeah, and then we see with the safeties, even if Whitehead doesn't play, I'm Whitehead's #1 fan. I think this one particular game against a Chiefs team who's probably going to throw the ball around the yard, you probably might want Mike Edwards out there.
Yeah.
We don't need the extra box guy because that's Whitehead's strength, is playing near the line of scrimmage. Being a blitzer, being, guarding running backs, guarding tight ends. Mike Edwards is just a little bit more dynamic, but it'll be interesting to see if Jordan Whitehead plays, because I basically had his injuries and it's not fun. It's not easy to play through.
I'm here to tell you, like I was telling you, I separated my shoulder, and I was skiing. I hit a mogul and fell face first, and all my weight landed on my shoulder. I mean, I was just like this, and I separated my shoulder. I'm lucky I didn't break anything. And I'm telling you what, I could not imagine putting any kind of impact, dealing with any kind of impact at all, just on an injury like that, much less moving it around. That was out of the question. And then you think about, range of motion, and shout out to him for what he did, man. But I don't see how he's going to play. I really don't. Yeah, I'm honest. I would love to see him out there if he can help this team, but I just don't see how he's going to be able to play.
Yeah, man, get him a sling, get him a surgery, and let him hang out on the sideline. If one of them were to get injured, though, Andrew Adams did not play the game that I wanted him to. But good news is I think Antoine Winfield Jr. plays, and I think those 2 can definitely hold down the floor. And I think Antoine's going to be the guy who's going to be over Tyreek. Yeah,
and he is going to play regardless of what you guys see in the injury report this week, folks. Antoine Winfield Jr. will be on that field. I promise you.
Yeah, sprained ankles. He already has a week of basically not doing much. He didn't play during the game. Like, he's going to be healthy by next week.
Yeah, most definitely. And Tyler Johnson about to have a Joe Jurevicius moment.
Do it. Step up. That's what he's done this playoffs.
That's exactly what he's done.
have a role and step up when Tom Brady calls your name, because Tom Brady came out after the Saints game after he made that ridiculous catch and said, I have more belief in Tyler than Tyler probably does of himself.
Yeah. That's just talent, man. And
I love that. Chris Godwin light for Tyler Johnson. That's really what he is. He's a great blocker, runs over the middle, makes those contested catches.
Yeah, very physical player too for a wide receiver.
Best offensive rookie, I agree, but I think he's the best. If you were take quarterback out of the equation, throw this past year's draft and redraft just based on sole talent and their performance this year, Tristan Wirfs the number one guy.
Yeah. And if you did a redraft, I think the Buccaneers have two players right off the top of my head that would get drafted in the first round. They would not make it to the second round. Antoine Winfield Jr. and Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs would have been a top 10 pick. I would say, I know, I'm going to take that lie back. I'm going to say he'd have been at least a top 8 pick at the very worst.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers would have liked Tyler Johnson at like 28?
I'm sure he would have. Valid point there too. So, I mean, just shout out to Jason Light and Bruce Arians and what they did with this draft, what they've done with the last 2 drafts. And
home runs, both of them.
And this is what we said, if you watched the show a couple of years ago, that's what we said. The Bucs have to hit home runs on all these drafts in order to be any sort of competitive. And they've done that and then some. I can't tell you when this team has ever you'd almost have to go back to Richard McKay. And that's sacred. I don't even like bringing that name up and comparing him to anybody else, but the draft picks that they had and the free agent moves they had, and just what Jason Light is doing is nothing short of amazing. Now, but because these guys are Pro Bowlers, you have to mention Jason Light's name with Rich McKay if they win this Super Bowl.
It's unavoidable. You have to.
You have to bring them up at the same. You have to talk about them both. Who would you put in the Ring of Honor first? If you had to put one of the 2 GMs in, which
one of them won a Super Bowl? Yeah,
that's what you're looking at.
I mean, Rich McKay, he built the roster, but he didn't win it, right?
Yeah, he left after they won. That's Bruce Allen.
Okay. That's right. That was Bruce Allen who came in the year that we won.
Fuck that dude, man. That guy can find his way.
No, I got it mixed up. I'm sorry. I was 8 years old at the time. Cut me some slack.
No, not you. I just get annoyed when I hear Bruce Allen's name. Fucking idiot. But seriously though, if you think about it, you just break it down. You've got all these Hall of Fame players. And you got a couple of players that are waiting in the wings to be Hall of Fame candidate. They're Hall of Fame candidates. And if we had somebody to really speak up for them, it would be so nice to have them, mentioned. And then you look at some of the free agent acquisitions, even with Simeon Rice, Rondé Barber, and John Lynch. You got 3 players that could potentially be Hall of Famers, that should be Hall of Famers in my mind.
And that's on top of Brooks and Sapp.
That's on top of Brooks and Sapp. There you go. And again, this is what Rich McKay has done. I don't know, man, just what Jason Light has done quite a bit in these last few years, and he's cleaned up a lot, and he's put himself in a position to where you kind of have to mention him as one of the greatest GMs in Bucs history. He will be up there considering what they were able to accomplish, getting Bruce Arians here for one, bringing in that coaching staff, getting Todd Bowles in here as a defensive coordinator. I know that was more of Bruce doing that, but still that was under his regime. And then, you look at Tom Brady, that was the ultimate get right there. You look at Mike Evans. Mike Evans is going to the Hall of Fame. I will be damned if Mike Evans don't go to the Hall of Fame. Mike Evans, here's another guy.
Can I talk about Mike Evans real quick? Do you know who got a Pro Bowl, an All-Pro vote over Mike Evans? Cole Beasley. Someone with a ballot picked Cole Beasley, who didn't have near the stats, yards, touchdowns, catches, that Mike Evans didn't break Randy Moss's record of consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. And that's where, I mean, we can bring up Ira all day, but I think it matters who presents you. And Mike Evans has a Hall of Fame resume, but it's Tampa. Unless we win the Super Bowl, he might get overlooked, and I would hate to see that.
Yeah, I'd be disgusted. But I've already been boycotting the freaking Hall of Fame for years already, just because of the way they did Simeon Rice. I mean,
And Rondé right now.
And Rondé Barber, there's nobody when you compare Rondé Barber's stats with anybody else right now, there's nobody even close. They're not even close. I mean, I think he ranks number 7 in sacks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
He's a unicorn, and unicorns are usually appreciated.
Yeah. And everybody wants to say, well, you look at the team he was surrounded with. I would have to tell people that the majority of the majority of what Rondé Barber did was after Sapp was gone, after, it was after that super team was gone and broken up. And I could say the same thing about Simeon Rice. Simeon Rice, when he left the Arizona Cardinals, was number 2 in sacks. And I think here in Tampa, I think he's still the number 2 sack person in Bucs history. I mean, he was playing at a high level already when he got here. And people want to use the argument that he came into a good situation. No, if you looked at his numbers, he had 16 and a half sacks in his second year. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of politics that goes into this. And I think you have to have the right people that are presenting for you. I know that the person, the voice that Tampa has, I wouldn't want him presenting anything for me at all, period.
And then I mentioned Mike Evans real quick. There's another guy to me who should be a shoehorn, maybe not a first ballot guy, but a second or third year. Lavonte David.
Yeah.
He still doesn't get the love that he deserves.
Not even
I love Devin White. Don't get me wrong. Devin White is going to be a fantastic stud, maybe the next Ray Lewis, throw whatever, amazing things you want to throw out there. Lavonte David has been doing this for nearly 10 years.
Yeah. And you could put his stats next to
Bobby Wagner, Kuechly, Ray Lewis. I can name any linebacker that's in the Hall of Fame or is going to be mentioned for the Hall of Fame. Lavonte David, in most ways, beats most of them.
Yeah. There you go. What's up, Nestor? Alex from across the pond from Bucs UK. What's going on, man? Guys, I apologize. There's a lot of people in the chat tonight, man. This is historic, and I'm glad you're all here listening and checking it out. I'm gonna open up the phones. What time? I didn't realize we just jabbered this whole 47 minutes. I expected to get more.
We can also give them more on the back end of. I mean, you have Friday, but we also have next Wednesday as well. Remember, we don't have a game this weekend, so there'll be extra time to talk about the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let me fire up this phone here. Make sure I got. Remember, I didn't have the volume up that one time. That was funny. Remember those?
And the other time where it just didn't work at all, and then you I told you to ghetto it. You put it on speaker, but put it right next to the microphone.
Those were the good old days. All right, so this is what we're gonna do: 813-358-8154. I want to hear from you guys. This is your time too. I know you guys have really been in the chat. It's a little bit more fun when you can call in. I'll give you a few minutes to, just, give your thoughts on the upcoming game and, what's getting ready to happen. So, I definitely want to hear from you.
Yeah, I just won't be giving a score either this week or next week. Bucs are still undefeated when I haven't given a score or a winner. So my lips are sealed.
Yeah, most definitely.
You guys can give your scores, though. That hasn't affected our little thing we have going on. I don't think, Gene, you've given a score in a while yet either.
No, I've given that up. Deshimmer Wilson, how you doing tonight? This is Antoine's family. She knows. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Good.
That's what we need to hear, these kind of things. Again, that number is 813-358-8154. Please call in. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, so get into this here. So, hold on 1 second here. So Ramona K is saying Leonard Fournette will be the X factor for the Bucs to win Super Bowl 55.
I think they're gonna need some running game. I mean, as much as I like passing, but
they are gonna need the running game. That's gonna be huge. But I think when you get a player like when you have a player like Ronald Jones and the way Leonard Fournette's playing in the playoffs, man, this is what you need right here. And I think this will be key for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to actually win it all.
Yeah, I see some people talking about time of possession. Time of possession, it can be running the ball, but you can do it in other ways. Aaron Rodgers, they weren't running the ball that effectively. They still held the time of advantage. You got to just keep getting first downs. The Bucs started the game 6 for 6, and a couple of those were 3rd and longs against Green Bay, and they were converting. So it's keeping the 3rd downs rolling, getting those first downs. Marching it up the field. You don't have to get those chunk plays.
I wonder what's up here. I just missed a call, didn't I? What the heck? What the hell's up with this phone?
Call back.
Let's call him back. All right, we're gonna call back. Who are we calling? Let's see who we can get somebody on here.
So it'd be like, what if Pizza Hut was calling you?
Yeah, that would be.
Or no, what if you called back a number that was about your car insurance? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm hating them calls, man, about my car. Your car insurance is about to expire.
Click.
All right, you are live on Buck What You Heard. Who are we talking to?
I heard something.
Yeah, I did too. Caller, you there?
You got to get the nervous jitters out,
Yeah, exactly. Or it's just a raggedy ass phone. Man, I may just need to get an iPhone. That might be what it is.
Oh, yeah, reach the voicemail box for Robert Gill.
We'll have to try him again.
Oh, we know who called. We know who you are.
Yeah, we know. I don't know what's up with this. Anyway, let's try one more here. Let's see who we got.
Yeah. In terms of running, I don't think the Chiefs can really stop our run game, if I'm going to be honest. So if we do it well, I think we can do great.
This is kind of awkward. Did you call him?
Hello?
Hi. Hey, this is Gene at Buck What You Heard. This is Gene at Buck What You Heard. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
What's happening?
Yeah, you got a telemarketer. What's going on? Man, another day, another dog.
Hey,
all my
I'm
teams are doing
calling
good.
about your expiring car warranty, and I wanted to see if you want to renew that car warranty at this time.
Give me your social security number and your credit card.
I blocked them already. Yeah, I already blocked them people already. Man.
So the Bucs are going to the Super Bowl, man. What are your thoughts? I know we talked a little bit on Sunday.
I'm actually going to buy Kevin King a gift, a fruit basket. I'm buying him one. I'm buying Mike Patton one also, and I might help pay for his kids' college.
And you need to get one for Steve Smith.
Mike LaFleur yeah, that too. And I'm also going to tell Matt LaFleur to go see the wonderful Wizard of Oz and throw a pair. I was joking with a buddy of mine, right?
I wasn't mad at him for that call, though.
I was like, dude, that was stupid. Who's that to get the ball back? But I was like, stupid coaching. We'll take advantage of it.
Yep, I agree.
Just like you playing man coverage with 8 seconds left, and the Bucs had no timeout. And I was like, they deserve to lose. That call at the end again did not lose them that game. Bad coaching decisions lost them that game. And also, Tom Brady having a Jameis Winston game, but the Packers didn't score any points off turnovers.
Yeah.
Because this team, right, the difference in this team is they overcome turnovers this year.
Yes.
Or bad field position. Past teams did. I don't care. It could be a missed kick. They couldn't even overcome a missed kick. But I think the one thing with this team, and I was joking with a buddy of mine, the ball bounces Tom Brady's way, man. It just happens. It's like a horseshoe, man. This guy's wearing a horseshoe.
He made his deal with the devil, man.
So did I.
I know. Because we're getting calls now that we never got. I haven't heard Mike Evans get an offensive PI in ages since Tom Brady got there. But this team, I think, when I watch this team, and it further my belief that Todd Bowles is the best coach on his staff. It further my belief that. And I always joked around saying Todd Bowles is James Rhodes, a.k.a. War Machine, and Bruce Arians is Tony Stark. And, but I think what happened is that I just think that, like the Packers, the one thing they did also with coaches come in, Todd Bowles probably like, these idiots got their tackles on an island and they can't even block us, and they're not even helping a chip or nothing. Send the house. To me, he kept it simple.
Right.
And he has kept it simple, in my opinion. And I think that's a good thing. And that team was flying around on defense because the offense was trying to give it to them in the second half, the Packers, the game.
Yeah.
But that defense kept them in it. And the second most important free agent pickup, I said to people laugh at me, was Ryan Suckup. Pressure kick, that ended the game.
Yeah.
That forced that coach to be scared. How often has the Bucs this year had to chase points because of missed extra point?
Once, I think.
I will, and
that was because it was blocked. It was because it was blocked, and not because Suckup missed it.
Yeah, and I do want to say that Ryan Suckup, I do apologize. The Ryan Suckup apology tour is still rolling on. I was wrong. I should have been excited for you to be here, and I do apologize again this week to you.
I watched him in college. I knew he was a clutch kicker in college. And then I know he has some injuries and stuff like that. And that's a guy that people start bringing back. You got to bring that back because a kicker who's steady and clutch and doesn't because people don't realize you miss an extra point in the NFL. You're behind. Look what happened to Baltimore.
The Bucs know all about that. The Bucs fans know all about that chasing points thing that you're talking about. I don't know how many times and how many kickers we've gone through, but yeah, we know all about that.
It puts pressure on you.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one thing. But it's like the offensive line also, they really improved. I really believe Gronk has improved that offensive line, and he could block, but also committing to the run game helps out where you're not teeing off.
Right.
Where you're not teeing off on the quarterback because Tom Brady's holding the ball. He's making a sandwich back there. But they're blocking better, and that run game is helping out. But I'll say this also. I believe this is what – go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, to your point, the Bucs have been very good in the trenches on both sides of the ball in these playoffs.
Aaron Stinney. Just going to say that name. Just going to throw it out there.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing about Aaron Stinney is his name doesn't get mentioned, which tells me he's doing his job. When you don't have to bring his name up.
Can anyone point him out in the police lineup? Can anyone point him out in the police lineup right now?
Dude, I can't even tell. I can't even tell if I couldn't tell you if he was black or white. I honestly couldn't. I've never seen Aaron Stinney in my life until the playoffs.
So yeah, he would walk right past. He would walk right past you, and you wouldn't even know. And yes, Nestor, Nestor, yes, I am. This is the Ryan Suckup apology tour that started at the beginning of, I think, week 3? Week 3, maybe.
Yeah, week 3.
I think it was week 3. From week 3 forward, I've just been apologizing to Ryan Suckup because I was wrong. And
I'll take mine right now. I'm on my Devin White apology tour. So shout it out.
Yeah, shame on you. But anyway.
There's a lot of young players on this team. I think the hot take media who actually, like I always said before, started watching Bucs games this year because they were talking like Donald Smith was a rookie. That's how you know they didn't watch the game. But a lot of these young guys grew up, and it takes time for people to develop.
Yeah.
Like Devin White grew up. Scotty Miller, he fits his role. He was hurt a lot last year. Cam Brate was hurt a lot over the past couple of years. And people don't mention that stuff, and that goes a long way because sometimes young guys got to mature also.
Right.
Everybody doesn't come in like Adrian Peterson was back in his day, or Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. Some players got to grow.
And guys, think about this. Think about the atmosphere, the coaching, the atmosphere, the players that you're playing with, and you learn. Some people learn differently in different situations. And I think when you have an atmosphere with players like a Devin White, players like a Levante David. On the other side, you've got Ali Marpet. You've got Ryan Jensen, guys that play nasty, and they can kind of influence how some of these other kids play. You look at the secondary and how they've just kind of worked together collectively because you really don't have that veteran depth back there. But I think that, as they've handled the trial by fire after the bye, I think they've done a great job.
Yep, you're right. And one thing is that I always said over the years, when we talked, I always said the mistake they made for the past 10 years was just throwing these young guys out there with no one show them how to be a pro, no teachers.
Exactly.
Even the coaches weren't teachers. Now, I always say I believe Bruce Arians is a better teacher than X's and O's guy. That's no knock on him because I always say Dirk Cutter cannot teach a fat kid how to eat cake. That's always my thing. But the thing about Arians that stuck with me, and I think I'm seeing the fruits of it. You remember his introductory press conference where he talked about having two fields?
Yeah.
Because he said, how can you develop or teach you a bad habit if you're not getting any reps? Because, for example, right, that's something right there like Ronald Jones. If he couldn't get reps because he wasn't a starter at the time, how can you show him what you need to work on if you're not on the field? And I think that they having teachers now has really benefited those young guys coming up because, Vernon Hargrave I don't think he was that good, but who was his teacher? Who was his mentor? Brent Grimes? And what happens is when you have bad coaching, you develop bad habits, and they won't coach bad habits out of you.
Yeah.
So sometimes when that good coach come in, you may be far gone, or hey, you can go somewhere else. That happens to a lot of players in this league where they say, "Well, what happened? Well, this guy stinks. He had bad habits." So I remember when Dirk Cutter hated rookie running back.
Yeah. No, I was going to say too, the culture in your mind, does the culture factor into it as well? Because I swear, when you can take a step back and look at this team, there was a time where this team was okay with losing. And I don't care what anybody else says about it. This team was okay with losing. I mean,
and I was actually,
go ahead.
I was actually in a conversation with T. Smitty about this earlier this past week. How many COVID cases have the Bucs really had?
Yep.
That's a culture thing.
Yep.
They've come in and they've handled business. They've and I want to knock on wood right now because I don't want that to, but anyway, but to your point, it is a culture thing. I mean, going from not being able to win to finding a way to win. These rookies coming in like Antoine Winfield Jr. I love that guy and what he does and just how, the professionalism that he has. You would think he was, you would think he was a veteran the way he's come in to play the game. Shout out to Clay Lynch. What's going on? But yeah, that's something. Looking at this team, looking at this defense, I'm just excited for the game. I wish the game was next week.
Me too. I think if this team has the momentum right now.
Sorry, this weekend, excuse me.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant. But I'm saying this team has the momentum right now. I think they could definitely win it if it was this Sunday. But the only thing is, I think Antoine needs to be healthy, and I think he's the number one guy that needed to be healthy for this game, and I think he needs the extra week.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna play. Like I said, just everybody that I was looking at on that injury report this week, you can disregard that injury report. The one that you're going to need to watch is next week. I think these guys getting a chance to get rested and healing, I think is going to be very important to whether they play or not. Justin Batista, who converted over to a Bucs fan from the New England Patriots. Welcome, my friend. Welcome.
Well, he'll be leaving us in about 3 years.
No, he's good people.
We'll take him now.
You know what? I'll take the fan base away. A bigger fan base is kind of dope right now, so I'm good with that. T. Smitty, I want to get your final thoughts before we roll out of here. Before I let you roll out of here, but again, I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I think that one thing with culture, right? You guys said right. Was I remember when Dirk Cutter said he ain't like rookie running back because he couldn't pass block. Did Bruce Arians ever say anything about Rojo and pass blocking, or he said, let's get him around the football? Those are certain things right there. And I think what happened also is that you got veterans like Stu. People say they want to, but I don't think he's a player he wants well, but that's okay because of his age. But at the same time, the man always in shape. Like JPP, both are always in shape. They work their asses off, and they're teachers, and they show an example of professionalism that this team has not had.
Right.
Now, Levante Davis is a quiet guy, but they got two vocal guys there who could also take that lead and also show Levante some things because he never had it.
Right.
And, and so that right there is where you fit in right there. And even the offense, Ryan Jensen's been there with Baltimore. I think he won a Super Bowl with Baltimore, if I remember correctly. I don't
think he played, but I think he was the sixth or seventh round center for them. Yeah. Backup.
Yeah. But he was on that team, so he's around that winning organization, that culture. And that he could instill that. And he grew up a little bit as well. So you don't see the meathead penalties with him as you did like when he first got here.
Like in Chicago, like in Chicago.
And I think bringing in the right veterans to show these young guys how to play, to have them grow. And I believe also Arians being flexible with Brady, doing things Brady like. Because Brady is a pre-snap quarterback, no shame in that. Most quarterbacks are. But he likes the motion. Arians did that. More play action. He bent on that. And so that I give Arians credit on that as well. And I just hope that this team just make sure they ain't in the club.
Yep.
No bulletin board material.
Yep.
And and I'm talking to Bruce Arians mainly. He likes to talk. Devin White, I love you. You like to talk as well. Chill out, Devin, for the week. Yeah. Just give coach speak because you don't want to give that death machine offense any bulletin board material. I'll say this last thing. I wish the game was this weekend because they missed those 2 tackles for KC. You give another week for Andy Reid to really get time to coach that up. Yeah. But it's going to be a good game. Yeah. And it's going to be a real good game. It's going to be a fun game. Don't just join the ride, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Thank you so much for calling in, bro.
Hey, you guys have a good day. Hey, and KB, good luck in your match to the Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre. Good luck, man. You guys take it easy, man. Please, KB.
Oh, damn.
Please, KB. Oh, tweet at me, Smitty.
Hey, Ramona K. Bowles has an impressive combination of defensive linemen, edge rushers, and linebackers that he will deploy in devilishly different roles. And he makes it tough for opposing linemen. This is the truth. You don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're going to see every single time. So, I'm all definitely with that right there. Yeah, Daniel Barber, we have an unbelievable blend of veterans, young, talented players. Keep Jason Light around and watch this dynasty continue to dominate the NFC South for years to come. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to be very honest. Even if Drew Brees came back, I don't think this team is the same. I'm sorry, I just because I know nothing has 100% been mentioned, but I just don't see the Saints as the same Saints as we've seen.
No, for sure. And then one thing that crossed my mind when T. Smitty was calling was one storyline that you talk about Devin White, like just don't shoot off your mouth. You know who's probably going to be guarding against most of the game, if not the whole game? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, his teammate, the guy he took under his wing at LSU. If anyone knows Clyde, it's this man. He practiced against him. He was in the same running back room. Remember, Devin White showed up to LSU as a running back.
Yep. That's crazy, isn't it? Nestor says it's official. The Bucs are wearing white jerseys and pewter pants for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they kept the same playoff spiel that they've been going uniform-wise, which I would have loved pewter on. I want to die in red and pewter. Just give me that red top with the pewter bottoms. Oh, just bury me in that. Geez.
Yeah, that's pretty fresh.
But white on pewter, I dig it. As long as it's pewter pants.
There you go. Because we got to keep that winning thing rolling here. And Lloyd Carr said, "Please draft this kid to Belichick." Okay, I'm missing something. Okay, hold on. What I said earlier about Jason Light is he was on the Patriots scouting and saw Tom Brady and looked the other way. Scott Pioli, who is married to Bill Parcells' daughter, said, "We have to get this kid." So,
And
it
it's
makes
funny, Belichick had that similar relationship with Saban. Saban was this young coach who was up and coming, and he became friends with Bill's dad, and then he even like he'd sleep at Bill's dad's house, and Bill would come down for summers, and that's how they met.
yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I have to ask you, because we're kind of reminiscing here. Did you think at the beginning of the season that the Bucs were just a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl? Would you have, in your mind, just with all the unknowns, with COVID and all this other stuff, would you have ever imagined that the Bucs were just a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl?
I thought they were a quarterback away from the playoffs. I didn't think a Tom Brady year one at least could guess into the Super Bowl. I mean, I wrote for the Peter Plank. I wrote a full battle plan for Tom Brady, and I prefaced it with saying this is a pipe dream.
Wow.
That dream became a reality. And I mean, other than letting Carl Nassib go, that plan was probably the best thing I've ever written as a writer.
Yeah. It looks like somebody had mentioned Matthew Stafford. No, Matthew Stafford. No.
No. I think we went over it. I think only really Mahomes makes this team what it has in 1 year. But you also got to keep in mind, Brady brings Gronk, Brady brings AB,
Yeah.
JPP and Sue stayed because of Brady.
Yeah. There's just that whole Brady factor. I think what they're talking about is after.
Oh,
After Brady.
I mean, I thought until Aaron Rodgers was talking about this year might being his last year with the Packers, I would have, if you told me in 2 years Brady would win a Super Bowl, retire, we trade a first round pick and a couple other things for Aaron Rodgers, run it back. To me, that was the plan.
Yeah, you would have thought that was a plan. Yeah.
But I think quarterbacks are going to make this a thing now, though, in general. Like, I mean, who knows? What if Aaron Rodgers forces a trade to the Colts? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in general, like, what would stop, like, let's say the 49ers were healthy and Russell Wilson wanted out for it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, what if quarterbacks all of a sudden think they have this power, Deshaun Watson or Tom Brady style, where they think they can, be like the NBA and force their way out?
Do you see Deshaun Watson winning a Super Bowl or being on a team or leading a team to a Super Bowl?
I think he can do it once. I think it's one shot somewhere. That's it. And his whole career is what I'd guess.
There you go. I don't know. I go back and forth with that. He's one of those guys. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would all work out. So he's another guy that I would really look at and say, I kind of go back and forth on that.
Yeah, with him, I just think the biggest thing that puts him above a lot of quarterbacks is that he just doesn't have clunkers.
Right.
He doesn't have those throwaway games. He's had a bad defense his entire career, except for maybe 1 year of JJ Watt being dominant before his injuries. Like, I mean, he has a good blend of everything. And I don't think he has to rely on speed to, like a RG3 to, be successful. So yeah. I think he has a chance. He just needs other things. He needs a defense.
There you go. Daniel Barber was saying to my question, I thought a loss in game 2 would have been a great season, but our play since the bye has been absolutely stellar. I totally agree with that. That's kind of where I'm at too.
Take away one half against the Falcons, and that's it. It's been lights out ever since.
Yeah, Eugene Burke is saying if Drew Brees comes back, we will win the South. If we will have the whole training camp, hopefully another draft, maturity, culture, sprinkle some free agents, and you got Wirfs.
Oh, Tristan, Tristan left tackle. I don't know. This is actually a good little talking point. Do you see the Bucs tying Donovan Smith to Brady?
I'm going to say this: just his play in the playoffs has been. I can't say that there's been one time I wanted to launch his ass into the sun. So I'd have to say, he's playing better. I think things are getting better. He's starting to blend in with that line. I love his run. I love his run blocking. I think he's a great run blocker. and I will give shout out. I'll give the devil his due. As much as he's stressed me out. I've loved what I've seen from him in the playoffs.
Yeah, man. And I mean, if Gronk ever wants a second career, I think if he puts on 60 pounds, he could be a left tackle for someone.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy, I don't know how he does it. And he's skinny 240 pounds. He's not like what he was in New England. He's skinny now. And he's still using his technique. He's moving guys in the run game. He's blocking elite linemen one-on-one in the pass game.
I'm going to ask you, when you look at Gronk's technique as an offensive lineman, his blocking, just his hands in front of you.
Or, excuse me, 100. He's perfect. He knows leverage. He's good. Heads down, body down.
You look at his feet and how in his stance, he looks like a natural. Yeah, he looks like a natural offensive lineman. And I'm like, maybe that is why they brought Gronk in, is to block.
I'm a blocking tight end. Dude, Gronk is so funny, man. I did not like Gronk or Brady before they came to the Bucs. And Brady, to me, he's very TB12 brand. Like, he's always doing stuff for his brand. But like, did you see what he posted after the win with him and Gronk?
No, I missed that.
He played a P. Diddy song, and him and Gronk are just like being weird. I just don't understand what how are these personalities, like, how are they best friends? Like, and how is Gronk, like Jason Light was talking this morning, Gronk is like the leader of like the clubhouse. Whenever anyone has a bad day, Gronk lightens up their days. Like, this guy just.
And these are intangibles, these are things that you can't put a price tag on, and you can't like go out and get somebody in here that's going to naturally be able to do that.
Yep. And then having their careers obviously puts them on the pedestal. So guys are just going to respect them. And, if Gronk's, cracking a joke, it's that much extra funny.
Yeah. Justin Batista, thank you. I love the podcast. Enjoy listening to you talk about something you're passionate about. TB12 for the win. Tom got this 28-14. We don't do scores here.
Well, they can do as many scores as they want. We just can't give ours.
Yeah. Yeah. Justin Batista, man, hit me up later on, man. Tempe 1D, it's echoing. Are we echoing? Guys, are we echoing out there? Let me know.
No.
I didn't think I hear it. They need one more Tommy Gronky video for the Super Bowl.
Well, I think they did all of those like in the same day, and then just, cut it up and then threw them all together and then just spaced them out is what I think, because I think that'd be a great little segment.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. So we're not echoing. Getting pressure up the middle with Vita will be key since outside will be covered with pass rush. I think Vita, if he plays 80% of the snaps, will be huge. Rodgers, aka older Mahomes, felt it. So yeah,
I don't think Vita's ever going to play 80% of snaps though.
Not with that ankle injury.
In general, I don't think if he's 100%, I don't think he's playing 80%. But yeah, no, I mean, it's on JPP and Shaq to not lose the edge. If they can't let Mahomes out.
Yeah. And I want to shout out some guys, Nacho and Will Golston and Anthony Nelson. A lot of those guys that were out there really playing, you really didn't get to see them make impact plays, but they made plays away from the ball. And they held everything up while Vita Vea was out injured. And I don't think they get enough credit for what they've done. Just the defense collectively has really done a great job. They've had that bend, don't break. There have been times where people have been stressed out and wanted to jump out the window and giving up on this team, and giving me so many great first quarter tweets that I can kind of screenshot and save and enjoy at a later time. Thank you so much for that. So
Anthony Nelson this entire year has flashed. He's not like he just, I mean, not when he drops in coverage. He's probably the worst linebacker to drop in coverage by far. But when he's rushing the passer, he does.
He's almost like Barrett Rude-esque.
Yeah.
Barrett Rude, man. That was the guy. You didn't want him in coverage.
Nebraska, great. Shout out Jason Light, Ndamukong Suh, Levante David.
But anyway, we need JPP. JPP needs to be a Super Bowl performance. Sue also.
Hey, JPP was a number 6 seed and won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Spread that luck, baby.
That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Daniel Barber, he's saying rude. Oh man, sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up, but just certain people pop into my head like
Yo, he just got tackles, man. Like, he was the stat monk.
But he was like chasing people down because they got past him. So yeah, of course he's gonna. That's like EJ Biggers. I mean, you always saw EJ Biggers in a ESPN video because he is back of his jersey where he's chasing somebody down after they burned him. So yeah, he was on ESPN, but for all the wrong reasons. But anyway, we're on to bigger and better things here. Well, guys, I can't believe this. We've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. Get the hell out of here. Are you serious? You guys have been amazing. I want to say the listeners, shout out to the listeners. Bucs fans, get excited, get hype. Your team is at home for the Super Bowl, and this is exciting. My plan next week, I do want to open the phone lines up off the rip, and I just want to give you guys a chance to talk. Say what you got to say and get it all in because – this is your time, and I do appreciate you. We do have Peter Blake coming up here in about a little over a half hour. He'll definitely be on here. But I do want to hear from you guys. And please, get your questions together. This is going to be next week will be the show, will be the hype show where we are just that much closer to the Super Bowl. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and roll up out of here. KB, I want to get your final thoughts before we roll.
My final thoughts, NFL, I don't care if any of you, we need to make a petition. I want those cannons to fire during the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's disrespectful that the cannons do not fire. What are they saying, that it's violent?
No, it's because it's a neutral site thing. So I've never been to the Outback Bowl. Do they go off during the Outback Bowl?
No.
Okay, then yeah, that's what they're treating it as, just like a neutral site game. But to me, it's home. The home team made the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
make home field advantage. But yeah, no, my actual final thought. Shout out to all you listeners. This season has been fantastic. I love that Gene gave me the opportunity to come onto this podcast and share all of this with all of you. And seriously, next week, like Gene said, we're going to make this a majority of the show being a call-in episode. So save the number 813-358-8154. Save that in your phone. Throw a calendar, invite up to yourself. So that way you remember to call us next week. And we want to hear your thoughts. Go crazy.
King Cook said they do go off at the bowl game. I've never been sober at a bowl game. So
I've never been to Outback.
Go to Outback Bowl. Maybe they did. I
know they don't do it for USF. So
yeah. So, but they should because the Bucs are here, and that pirate ship is the pirate ship. And every time you look at that pirate ship, and I was at the game right after the hurricane tropical storm came through, and the cannons didn't fire. Who's that against, Atlanta? Or was that game?
Oh yeah. After the week 1 got rescheduled or whatever.
Yeah, I was at that game. And I was very sad that the cannons did not fire. It felt weird that the cannons didn't fire. So, it's one of those things. Eric Scott, I got to post this. There you go. Fire those cannons. Maybe I really wish somebody could be in that couldn't get arrested and had diplomatic immunity or something, could just fire cannons out into the parking lot.
What if they sold Super Bowl tickets so you could just be on the ship the entire game? Tell me someone wouldn't pay a lot of money for that.
Oh, I would pay thousands and thousands to do that. That would be exciting.
Did you see that people are posting him for $250,000 for club seats?
Because those people suck. So there is that. All right, guys. My final thoughts. Bucs Nation, we're all coming together. This is the first time where I've seen everybody. Everybody is on board. Everybody's as one. And we are appreciating this team, and that's what it's all about. I haven't seen any arguments.
Zero negativity. Zero
negativity. Even Shooter in the stash, he's even positive about everything too. And that's right there where I know that the Bucs have arrived. When Shooter does not have anything bad to say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I also want to shout out to Bucs Report. Bucs Report, I love you guys. Keith, Peter, Ray, who am I missing? Blake Anthony. Blake Anthony does a great job. Just so many guys Harry the Greek. I love having him on. Harry the Greek, and anything you want to know about sports betting and all that good stuff, he could tell you. He can help you advance your portfolio if you're not into investing in GameStop, which is kind of what we've seen before. But anyway,
and then there's Smack Apparel. Let's give them all a shout out real quick.
Oh yeah, definitely. Smack Apparel. They've been there for us, man. And if you get a chance, Smack Apparel, go follow them or check them out. Shout out to Louisiana Buckaholics. I didn't realize Louisiana Buckaholics were in the house. You got to, hey, Clay, you got to do a little bit better, man. You got to let us know that the Louisiana Buckaholics are in the house, okay? I realized that Jay kind of shouted you out, but I didn't realize that's what it was all about. Clay, if you are on Twitter, hit me up at BucWhatYaHeard. You follow me, I'll follow you back. We'll make this a little bit better next time you come on. Let's see, who am I missing? King Cook, again, thank you so much, my friend. You always have something good. You bring something good all the time, and you're greatly appreciated. Daniel Barber, appreciate you. Anthony Yarborough, Texas in the house. Andy Finley, we've got the UK in the house. Man, we've got a lot of people from across the pond checking us out. You guys are appreciated. Eric Scott from Maryland. Wow. You know what? Next week, we should just do the roll call and see where everybody's from before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's like do like the loose cannons where like when you call in, you say like, you know, what wing preference you have. No, tell us where you're from, how you became a Bucs fan, and then talk about the Super Bowl for a minute, and then we'll go to the next one.
I'm thinking at the end of the show, we could give like 5 or 10 minutes and just let people just roll call where they're from.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, because this is dope, man. I kind of wish I'd done kicking myself in the ass. I didn't do this sooner. But anyway, all right, guys, I'm out of here, and get ready for the Sports Web with Peter Blake. Should be coming up here in about almost 30 minutes. I probably didn't give him enough time to get ready, but my fault. Well, enjoy my time with you guys. You guys are greatly appreciated. Will the Brewer, thank you so much, my friend, for checking us out as always. And we are out of here.
They're gonna captain of the ship, yeah.